We at it again. 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 Still back. We at it again. We at it again. We at it again. Yeah. We at it again. Still back.
Hey,
We at it
welcome, welcome,
again.
welcome. Hey,
We at it
Tara.
again. Still back.
Hey,
We at it again. Still
Impact.
back. We
We
at
at
it
it again.
From your page. Hey guys.
Hey, everyone.
Everyone. Yes.
Welcome. Welcome
Dating
to Dating
Podcast.
God's Way
Yes.
on a good old Tuesday night, Tuesday after Independence Day, Tuesday after the 4th of
Trying to get to
July.
your birthday. Slow down. Slow
It
down,
must
sir.
be July 5th, 5th,
Yes.
5th. So welcome, 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 welcome. I hope you enjoyed your cookouts, your
Yes.
festivities, the
Yes.
fireworks. My goodness, y'all, the fireworks was going all the way to midnight over at my house in the big park across the street. Um it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. All the boom and
It was
pow
a
and boom
nightmare,
and
baby.
boom. It was a nightmare.
Oh,
I took a bike ride around the community, and just all I saw was just daughter, hey Benson, son, hey Apostle Benson.
hey, guys.
But I mean, just to see all of the spent fireworks shells on the ground and stuff like that, and I was like, man, they couldn't even clean up their stuff afterwards. But I mean, hey, they had a ball, they had fun.
It's a ghetto. It's ghetto.
Nobody got work, nobody got hurt. Bless the Lord. Um, Prayers out to the Bowie community that tornado just passed through there in Bowie,
Yes.
Maryland.
Prayers.
So
Yes.
prayers out, prayers for those affected by the tornadoes, houses, cars damaged, and I understand some people may have been injured in that tornado. So prayers out to those in the Bowie area which I go to often. Chick-fil-A, Quick Way, um, Patience
Yeah.
First. A lot of things are down that way. So Cold Stone. So
Yeah.
my cleaners is down that way. I go to Zips Cleaners down there. So anyway, it's a very,
Prayers
very,
for all
very
of them.
busy area down that way. So we just praying for all of those that have been affected by
Yes.
the tornado.
Yes.
Which brings us to dating
It
God's
does
way.
not bring us to that in God's way. That does not bring us.
Which brings us to dating God's way.
Which brings us. Hey, y'all. Yes, 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 yes. So we're on our series about building strong partnerships. Yes?
Yes, we on our series about building strong partnerships. Partnerships that can last 4,000 miles of travel while one is in California and the other is in Upper Marlboro. It takes a strong partnership.
Go ahead.
Uh, and you're freezing. You frozen. Your picture is frozen.
Oh my goodness. I
So
know. Now it's gonna start up as soon as we get started.
here's the thing. You cannot
Okay.
make sudden movements. No sudden movements. So I'm going to restrict you a little bit. You can't be this tonight. You gonna freeze. You're gonna freeze in the middle of so
Very
can't
hard for me to stay still. Okay, I'm gonna
yeah
try right now. I'm proud.
yeah. So you're gonna have to talk like you do on your business calls.
Okay. All right. So I'm here now. It's face only. Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. So we were going to talk about tonight. We have at least two series, at least two series left about children building strong partnerships. Thank you. Strong partnerships with parenting, and we're also going to talk about with ministry. But that before we get into that, I think it's really important to talk about what makes a strong partner. What makes a strong partner?
Weights, lifting weights.
That
You want to be strong, you gotta lift weights. What can I
y'all,
say?
y'all know I'm not here for any of this today. Ain't here for none of it. No lifting weight stuff. What
Weightlifting.
makes a strong partner? Before we can even get into marriage, kids, look, marriage, kids, or ministry. What makes a strong partner? Who are you getting into the partnership with? Most importantly, who's getting into the partnership with you? What kind of partner are you? That's what we want to talk about tonight.
Oh, so some inflection. So
Yeah.
we doing
What
the
kind of partner are you?
so we doing the SWOT. We doing a SWOT analysis.
We're not doing a SWOT
Internal.
analysis.
We
We're not
doing
doing
an
any sort of
internal.
SWOT analysis.
We're doing an
No.
internal SWOT analysis. What kind of? That's what you pretty much. What kind of partner are you? That's an analysis. You
Yes.
doing a self analysis.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes. Yes. Yes.
that's
What makes
that's
a strong? Because you know what? For real, in real life, a lot of marriages, a lot of the warfare that comes from I'm gonna call it warfare tonight. A lot of the warfare that happens within conflict, that happens within relationships, particularly in marriages, have to do with the lack of partnership, the lack of being able to partner together in specific areas of life.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, in some cultures, there is no partnership.
Hmm.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, let's talk
Remember your
about it.
remember your friend
Yes,
who was, who went to work and was like the boss at work and then came home and had to be subservient,
right. Yes,
right? Like that's a fact, right?
that's a fact.
That's a reality that exists within a lot of different cultures.
True.
So when we talk about partnerships, we can't assume that every culture is even open to the concept of partnership in a marriage,
That's true.
right?
That's true. You know, you go into a space here, and you
Uh,
know, y- um, especially men. Most of us men probably. Well, I can't say most of us because I don't have any sources to back that up. Because now I'm learning how to back my statements up with sources. So I won't say most men, but many men grow up with the male dominant um, attitude, a male dominance. Some people call it toxic masculinity, but it really isn't. I don't feel like it is. I think it's a thing of um, being the male. Um, because you are a male, someone or something has instructed you that you are your partner is basically a baby machine, and they do as you say.
oh,
um
ah,
right. They do as you say, and you are the lead, and so you do everything to keep your leadership position, even if it's neglecting the woman as the partner. and so she becomes um under the thumb of whatever you have, she has, right?
Right.
Whatever you can provide is provided, that's what she accepts to receive from your provision. And and what I'm seeing, what I'm saying, and especially based on what you said about, the associate that that I have, is that doesn't work in all environments. Even though it was in their culture, when they got into a different environment, that culture could not that culture could not stand in the environment that they were in. The environment required something different. The environment required partnership.
Well, Pastor Will, I have a question because some people would say then, is that biblical? I know I'm frozen, but can you hear me? At
I can
least,
hear you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Some
It
people would say, is that biblical? Is that
um
biblical that the man has to be the ruler over the woman? Is that a biblical model that they're perpetrating, or that they are, because we talk about partnerships, right? And we're talking about dating God's way. We're talking about married God's way. Is there a biblical command that says the husband is the ruler over the wife?
right. The husband is the head. I believe I know the husband is the head. I know the husband is the lead of the family. I do know that, and I do believe that. And I do um know scriptures that that guides that direction, right? However, um it says the Bible also talks about the two coming together and becoming one. It doesn't talk about the two come together so the other one can take a break from whatever she was doing, and now she's just the wife that has to forget what her history was as a woman, as an unmarried woman, forget all of those attributes and characteristics and strength and time with God that she spent. Well, forget all that because now you the man. Then no, that's not biblical. That just isn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bible is clear. It's submit one to the other as it pertains to husbands and wives, submit one to the other. And so, it's like, can there be a submitting to each other and also a dominance, a rulership,
Yeah, there
a
could be.
dictatorship?
Yeah, there could be a submitting to each other. Um,
Because submitting is
and
to yield.
is a yielding, but there is a head, right? There is a head, and I'll liken the head to a practical example.
Yeah, give it to us.
If there's a disagreement between the husband and the wife,
Yeah.
if there's a disagreement, a decision, then the wife should submit to the husband, pray for the husband, and pray that the husband's decision is the God decision. And if not, if it is wrong, and the right decision was the wife's, then also pray in a direction that God get the glory. But when there is a difference of opinions or decisions, yes, I believe the wife have to submit to the husband.
Okay.
And
Okay.
this is not
Okay.
this is not um invalidating the wife's opinions or taking her voice or anything. This is not that.
Well, I think what it is Ephesians 5:23, right? It says the husband is the head of the wife, right? This is the biblical model is the husband is the head of the wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
As Christ is the head of the church. So
Absolutely.
then the as the head of the wife, then what's the responsibility?
As a head of the wife,
Yeah. We talk about partnerships. So in a
yeah,
partnership,
partnership.
everybody got to know their role.
Everybody, you have to have clear definition. Everybody have to know their role.
Everybody have to know their role. So if the man is the head of the wife, then that means that the head of every man has to be Christ, and that's First
It
Corinthians 11.
it it has to be, and
First
and
Corinthians
and the
11, and I'm gonna say around 5:3, somewhere around there. The head of every man has to be Christ.
and there has to be a trust that the man now there has to be a trust that the man is following the wife, is following Christ, right?
That's the key
There has
element.
to like
Kanisha
like
asked me, so what if the man is continually wrong? Right. That is the when we talk about partnerships, that is the space of is Christ in the lead of the
is
man.
Christ the lead. That's that, and that's it. And
That's
I
the
think
first factor. It's Christ in
and
the lead.
and I think people may try to fit this in sinful relationships. This does not
Sure.
work in sinful relationships.
Or it doesn't work in carnal relationships or religious relationships. Christ has to be the head of the man.
Right.
Christ has to be the head of the man so that the man can be the head of the wife and they can submit one to the other while both following Christ. It has to be, the order has to be right.
Because when Christ is the head of the man, then the wife knows, even in her disagreement, then you must be getting this from God.
That's correct. That
Don't
that
bring
has
don't
to be the source.
and here don't bring me nothing that don't come from the throne of God.
This is it. If God ain't saying it, don't bring it. That's it. The head of the man must be Christ.
It gotta be.
And so if the man is following self, flesh, or any other thing, then this model does not work, Pastor.
But the problem is that too many people put their hearts and their trust in the man that don't follow Christ, but yet they're still following this the tenet of the man is the head of the household.
Correct. Yes. And the man has the expectation that just because he's the man, that he needs to be followed. No, the man who follows Christ needs to be followed. There cannot be a man who is, because he's the man and of a man in the flesh, that dictates he has to be followed. It says the head of every man is Christ. So there has to be this relationship with Christ. So then thus that the wife follows.
Absolutely.
So then thus, I said.
And if you are in that imbalanced relationship of the man not following Christ, but you doing all you can to follow Christ as a woman, or and vice versa, then you have to pray in a different direction. If you are married, you have to pray in a different direction.
Yes.
You just do. You have to you have to pray differently. When if your husband does not know Christ.
That's correct. Yes, because that's another dating God's way, not this one.
Amen.
To be clear, that's another one, right? Because what we're talking to tonight is in the frame of how to know if you're a good partner and how to know a good partner when you see one. And it has to start with this order of Christ being the head of the man and the husband being the head of the wife. And to be very clear, Pastor Will, you did not become my head a second sooner than when we got married. There was no there was no pre-head. I mean, look, you became my head when you became my husband. So I think that's another part of partnership that's important. We're not making no decisions, life decisions, head decisions until that is sealed with rings and consummations.
And because I knew you knew God, I just couldn't come with you with my own ambitious thoughts of
Yeah.
decisions
Yeah.
based on selfishness,
Yeah.
based on what we can do now because we married. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
It had to come through, because God is both of our leads.
Yeah.
It had to make sure it comes through God and make sure that we are both hearing the same thing
Yeah.
so that God is leading our marriage. Because
Because
for
that's when
real,
we can get to the place of
I can't
partnership.
I can't be the head of a marriage and family. I don't have the strength. This is a divine thing because I don't have the I don't have the I don't have the brain, the strength, the intelligence. I don't have any. I'm a God-fearing man. Only God has, for me, only God has that ability to keep a family together and
Yeah.
to raise kids into adults.
Yeah.
I'm just the
To do it
conduit that
God's
he's
way.
using. It's
Absolutely.
God's way.
To do it God's way. And that pastor is when we talk about this partnership. I move my hands. I'm stop. When we talk about partnership, we have to start from the right order of things,
True.
right? We have to start from the right order. Christ head, husband head. We have to start from those places because when we do not start from those places and spaces, then we get into fleshly partnerships and just a whole bunch of foolishness, Pastor.
Yes.
Okay, and so um here we go. So the question, we have a question tonight from the inbox about look, you know, the question is, do do they have to belong to a church while they following Christ?
I would say
What if
this.
they out there by themselves being alone and would not following say they following Christ, but they're not submitted to any leadership? I'm gonna
Man,
say
woman
Ephesians
of
5 and
God.
23. Go ahead.
Man, man and woman of God, child of God. You need to start asking people, especially from these dating sites, what God do you serve?
Yeah.
I think that's we it's and back in the day we didn't have to ask this question because we met you in the same church, pretty much.
No, sometimes we met him at the club, at the mall. Don't start at that. Sometimes we met him.
I never asked anybody what God they serve from the club because we were all serving the same thing. We were all serving the God of the club. We were all serving the same thing.
Look, I'm talking about as a believer, you knew certain things wasn't gonna go nowhere because they was like the sun, moon, the this, the that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean they had no they had no definition. They would say God, but they had no definition to their relationship with God, right?
Right, correct. So that's what we
And
saying. We need to know up front what's this person's relationship with God. And going back to order, if Christ is the head of the church, and then the man is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. That's what the scripture states. Then that man needs to be submitted to the church. That woman needs to be submitted to the church. That is true, Pastor.
that's
It's
true.
biblical. Can't no religion take you out of that. I'm sorry. I don't care how they switch up, flip up this word of God, Bible. It is what it says it says. So yeah,
my parents
absolutely.
my parents met at the club.
Hallelujah. Yes. So yes, I think there has to be that order has to be there when we talk about partnerships. We got to start with
Yeah.
the right order because we both should be partnering with God at some point, Pastor.
Yeah.
I'm not partnering with you. I love you a whole bunch, But I'm not partnering with you to be doing Willie stuff. It just we need to be doing God stuff. That's the only thing that's gonna be having results. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
look, your stuff have us tripped out. As believers, we both should be partnered with God. Is it
We
right?
should be partnering with, we have to be partnering with God.
We have to be partnered with God. That's how we get the right results. Hearing God, you guys. Yes.
And when we say partner with God, when we say partner with God, I'm sure some of the minds will switch to, oh, I gotta be they gotta be church folk, they gotta be in ministry, they gotta be doing this and doing that.
You gotta hear God, though.
Right. You got it. And that's it. You got to hear God.
You gotta have enough relationship with God to be able to hear him. That is true.
That's the truth.
That's
And
the truth. When you start hearing somebody else's life.
And quite frankly, those who know how to hear and listen to God will most likely end up somewhere in ministry. It's just true. It's just statistics. However, but ministry isn't the prerequisite. The prerequisite is, do you hear God?
Yeah.
Before you before you come and be an integral part of my life, do you hear God?
Yes. Is he the Lord of your life? Is he the head, the ruler, the master of your life? Before we start partnering and you become the head of mine. That's a question. That's a question. Because somebody asked a question also in the inbox as well, Pastor, about, sometimes they have had the experience where the partner wanted them to be strong in God, but they were not strong in God themselves, but they wanted the partner to be strong.
Not in no dating relationship.
Yeah, they looking for a strong, they looking for a strong woman of God that pray to do this, and they don't do none of them things they own self.
You got the wrong woman.
That's crazy.
It's not right. It's not right, y'all. It's not right.
So let me give y'all a few points. Let me give y'all a few points, because you want to start thinking about how to be a strong partner before you become one.
Yes.
Wait until you get married, it's too late.
Wait until you get married, it's too late.
You're wild. You got a whole bunch of your own stuff happening. You're wild. So a couple of things I would say. Okay. I got some more questions in the inbox for
because quite frankly, you need to be a strong person even in the engagement period. If it gets to engagement, you need to be a strong. So you have to have a strong partnership with God.
Yes.
Way before marriage, before engagement. Now you need to have that strong partnership with God right now.
Yeah. Right now. Strong partnership with God right now. Got to be some evidence, child. We need some fruit, okay? Some fruit of the evidence. And so the question that's in the inbox now says, what if your partner has expressed that they've heard God about something, but you haven't? How do you build the trust that your partner hear God clearly?
Wait
in the dating stage.
Wait on the Lord.
I always say this: there has to be some receipts out here. They're like, for example, prior to me and Pastor Willie getting married, I had a partnership with my best friend. We had a partnership. We lived together, we moved together. We heard God together. That's a fact. We all of that, right? So when I would tell my best friend, I believe that God was saying something, or I believe God was saying something, at some point there had to be receipts, right? A case in point, I was like, 3 months, we're gonna get a townhouse. This was gonna happen. Boom, 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 boom. It was receipts. It happened, right? So it got to be some receipts, Pastor. It can't just be like you heard, and your hearing is not producing anything. Your hearing God has to be producing character fruit. Okay? Character fruit in your life. You are growing as a person. You character fruit. And also there has to be some receipts of that what you say actually produces something that comes to pass, Pastor.
Yes.
It can't be hopes and dreams. Because that ain't how hearing God work. Hearing God ain't no hopes and dreams.
That ain't how he works.
It ain't hopes and dreams. So, there has to be some receipts that you see, particularly, I think, time you get to the engagement stage, there has to be some fruit that you see. And I think too, as you start going to church together and seeing one another live and go through situations and all of that, that will also reveal, Pastor, what our person's relationship with God is.
Even now, even after 21 years of marriage, even when I hear God say something and Pastor E hasn't heard it, even she'll say, okay,
Of course.
and
Yeah.
don't move, because it's just okay. And you know what? I have to put down my pride, lay aside my feelings, and just say, okay, God, if you said you're gonna do it regardless, because you said it.
That's it. That's it. And I'm gonna follow regardless, because that's what I agree to. I'm gonna follow. So I'm following. That's it. Every time he hears something, I ain't gotta be, if I didn't hear it, I ain't gotta be like, ooh.
Exactly.
I trust him enough and I trust God enough. So it's the trust factor is there now, but we ain't start there. I at first, before we got married, I needed to see some receipts first, though.
Yeah.
I need some receipts before I'm trusting you with my whole life, though.
Yeah, and I have to be able to read the language. And then when I do feel it, or if even if I don't have a full agreement, and I heard God say, "Do it," and go and do it, and I bring back that receipt. There's been a few times where I didn't do it based on the body language that I received, and things were delayed. But God forgives and He restores the time. And so sometimes it's not as clear cut, but absolutely, get the receipts.
Sometimes it's definitely not. Sometimes it's
What
definitely not as clear cut.
what is what the other hearing? What is it producing? Is it producing frustration? Is it producing frustration now?
Anxiety, yeah.
Anxiety? Is it something being
Stress.
forced upon you?
Yeah.
You have to you have to make a decision based off of what they heard,
Yeah.
and they are not yet the wife or the husband.
Yeah.
Nah, they can have, okay, well, keep what you hearing to yourself. Because what you're not going to do, and what God doesn't do, God is gentle.
Yeah.
He doesn't force you.
Doesn't force himself on anybody.
No, he's a graceful God.
No, yeah.
So, yeah, that's okay. That's my rant on that.
Okay, I'm about to say now your screen was frozen for me. I don't know what happened. Yeah, and so yeah, I think that's key, paramount, Pastor. I do want to leave us with a few points tonight, though, before we hop this. And if you have any more questions, you can, of course, hit in the inbox, or you can hit right here in the comments. But a couple of points I wanted to make about tonight, you have to be a strong partner in order to have a strong partnership. And that should be evident. But Pastor Will, I'm seeing so many people that desire a strong partner, but they're not a strong partner themselves.
Wow.
Like, there has to be a balance of expectations. You have to have the same expectations of yourself that you have of another person. It has to be equal expectations, right?
Right.
You have to be a strong partner for your own self. Okay, I'm getting more questions. Balance of expectations. The last thing I say before we answer one of our last questions is In order to be a strong partner, you also have to be willing to compromise and let go of some of your gotta haves. Everybody can't have everything in a partnership, Pastor.
Now you can't be. I mean, I don't want to say you can't be a spoiled brat in a partnership.
You
I mean,
cannot be a spoiled brat in a
you can
partnership.
be
You cannot.
you can be whatever you want to be. But I'm telling you, to have
It doesn't
a
work.
healthy partner, to have a healthy partnership, um, probably being a spoiled brat would not be beneficial to a strong partnership.
Yeah, you gotta let go of some of them gotta haves. It ain't gonna work. Not if that's not if you're gonna have a partnership, and it's like it's the difference between, leadership and partnership, right? It's like we understand Christ is the head. We understand the husband is the head. We get all the order of things, but also like there's also the relating and communing that has to happen with one another's. And that's where the submitting to one another's comes in at. There's also that piece of it, Pastor, where
Yeah,
there has to be some understanding and willing to compromise. Some of you gotta have it my way. Nah, it can't always be your way. Gotta be some compromise with the wayness. Any more points you want to add, Pastor, before we go to our last question? Ah,
hey Steph, hey Steph.
can't always have it your way, for sure.
Yeah,
You gotta give. In order to have a good, strong partnership, there has to be a give.
that
Both
has
partners gotta give. Yeah,
gotta give.
gotta give. Gotta
And
give.
giving is mutual. Hey, Julie. Julie says that she's looking for a friendship that will lead to long-term goals. Yes. I've been single for 5 years since I lost my ex to cancer. Oh, I'm so sorry to
Oh,
hear
sorry
that.
to hear that.
I want to meet the man of my dreams and be pampered with love. Amen.
That's sweet.
That's sweet.
Very sweet. Yes, it's very sweet. Ooh, that's very sweet. Yeah. I think, when we talk about friendship, Pastor, too, when you approach a relationship with friendship, I think that also can be a space that can get really challenging sometimes
Yeah.
because you are starting with a friendship, but sometimes it goes really quick to relationship.
Yeah.
And it is, oh hey, cousin Rube, hey there.
Hey.
Um, I think, it is how to navigate through the friend stage without rushing to the relationship stage, right? um, and I think some of the things we're talking about tonight is some of the things that you want to build in yourself. Make sure you're a strong partner. Make sure you're willing to give. Make sure that you understand the order of God, right?
Yeah.
And you don't rush into that divine order too quickly.
Yeah. It's really important. It's I always say some of the best friendships should not have become a relationship. And some of the best friendships should have should become a relationship.
Ah,
Um because relationship, that root word of relation, having that relational respect and that relational
yeah.
admiration,
Hmm.
and have that grow and have that build from a liking to a being in love with um type of thing. I think that should just happen organically rather than rushing and be like, okay, well, since you're here, we might as well just go ahead and keep going, and then we jump into a courtship, but we did not build those relational components anymore.
Yes. How we
Somehow,
relate grows.
some
Yeah.
somehow those relational components stop because now we're trying to build this
Relate.
love,
Yeah,
this that we're trying to build this courtship on this thing together.
yeah,
But we skip the relational building components in it.
yeah. How we relate grows, not just the activities, not
That's
just
good.
the commitment. Like how we relate to each other should be growing. We should be growing in our ability to relate in a healthy manner, in a loving manner, in a caring manner, in a graceful manner. We should be growing in how we relate to each other. And some of that, for a believer, also has to do with how we relate to each other spiritually. How much room and space can I give for what God is also doing in your life? Your life does not stop because we're together. So there has to be space for that relational component, and me understanding you from, not just a physical space, but also a mental and a spiritual one too. There has to be that relating that is holistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And so another question that we got in the inbox tonight is about when sometimes when the spirituality is used as a manipulation factor. And
Mm,
so sometimes people have like a strong spiritual appearance, and like, so now they like, you should trust me because I'm a man of God, or I'm whatever. And how do you measure that appearance of godliness type of stuff where people using that to kind of get your guard down
yeah.
and bring you into trust? And I would start off by saying, Pastor, that I think that relationships, going back to what we just said, it has to be holistic, right? We
Yeah.
not starting with just speaking in tongues together. Like, I also need to know like where you live, who your mother is, who your cousin is. Like, I need to know some facts about you, about real life, not just roko toragata. They can't be all that prophesying that, oh yeah, you my wife. I seen it in a dream. No, no, and no. And where you live at, where you work at, what's your work ethic like, what your bank account look like. There has to be some facts that go along with the spirit.
You know, y'all know the story. Me and Pastor E got married. We met and got married within like what 9 or 10 months. Something crazy. Don't try that at home. Um, but I'll say this: there were two very key occasions that happened between us dating and then getting married. One was my family reunion. She got to see who Woo was, not Willie the minister of music or whatever I was back then.
Yeah,
She got to see me around people that called me Woo Woo,
that's
my
correct.
nickname. She got to see me in an environment in which I grew up in, and who I was, and how people treated me in that environment.
Yes, with your
Because
family.
I could fake it for a little while. I could have faked it for a little while, but my character would have eventually shown up, especially around all familiar people. So if I was an alcoholic, if I was a smoker, she would have witnessed that weekend in North Carolina. She would have saw it all
Yeah, because
because
people was
I was
going.
around it all.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other was her family get together, and so these events, so we just didn't keep it. We just didn't um try
Living our
to
little bubble.
live in our bubble. Thank you. We
Yeah.
didn't just try to live in our little bubble, but I had to see what was outside of this bubble that we were in. She had to see
Yeah.
what was outside of this bubble that we were in. Is this real or is this Memorex? Y'all like now I done took it. They like, what is
I
Memorex? But
don't know.
they don't
Whoosh.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it? What is it for real? And I'll say this too, Pastor Will. Like, it's a being able to get to know the life of someone. That's a part of getting into a relationship, a partnership, a dating ship, all of it. You got to know more than the person's persona and or even their spiritual. Look, Pastor Will ain't speaking in tongues all the time, neither am I. That's the reality. Like we're not always speaking in tongues and all that. We have to live life together as well. And so I think that that's a key component of that not being manipulated is you don't hold that spiritual you don't hold all the spiritual things to discount all the other things.
This is a Memorex tape, by the way. It's a
Oh
tape,
gosh.
cassette tape.
Pastor, please with this stuff.
I just wanted to make sure they knew what Memorex was.
You don't you do not hold the spiritual things to discount the natural things. There has to
Yeah.
be both components. There has to be balance of both things in which you agree to both things. Both parts of the life, guys.
Both
Natural and spiritual. Both parts of the life. Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Spiritual don't cancel out natural.
So let's get into our points. How to build strong partnerships, strong marriage partnerships. So the
I said,
first thing,
you got
huh?
some more? Go ahead.
Huh?
You got some more? Go.
Oh, you read this list already?
I did. Yes, I sure did.
Oh, you just went over my head. Go ahead. No, I ain't got no more. I was
Yeah.
just reading off the list that you gave me. So I
Yeah,
didn't know you hit
we
all your
said that
points.
before we said that before the last question, Dad.
I didn't know you hit all your points in your dialogue. Okay, my
Yes,
bad.
yes.
All
Child.
right. Hey,
Look, y'all know look, you a little off tonight. I'm in California, child. So I gotta bring
hey.
I'm in California tonight. This is a great dating God's way, though, guys, about how to build a marriage partnership. We're gonna get into how to build a strong a parent partnership, and also a ministry partnership as husband and wife. We're going to get into that in our future dating God's ways coming up. But tonight, I just wanted to talk about what it means to be a partner, Pastor Wills. I think that's so important.
It
To
is.
have a strong partner, you got to be, if you have a strong partnership, you have to be a strong partner first. Don't forget it, guys. That's it, Dad.
That's it.
That's
Awesome. Well,
it.
thank you all for joining Dating God's Way tonight. All of our viewers, please share, and like.
Yes.
Like our page on Facebook, Dating God's Way. Like our page on YouTube.
YouTube.
And if you are new to our page, go back and check some of our archives and go hear what we're talking about,
Yeah.
what we laughing about,
Yeah.
um, and
What we
everything.
doing?
Yeah, you all are so welcome. Thank you. Y'all be safe out here in
Yeah,
these
love you
streets.
guys so much. Yes, yes,
Love you
yes.
guys. See you at Bible study tomorrow at
Yes.
4520 Beach Road in Temple Hills,
Bro.
Maryland at 7
Mhm.
p.m. And then I'll see you on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock a.m. at 4520 Beach Road for
Yes.
our Sunday
Beach
morning
Road.
transformation. Woo!
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Transformational Sundays.
Yeah.
Join us. Join us. You don't want to miss it. Hey, all right, y'all.
Hey, love you
Good night.
guys.
Should I play the outro?
Oh, Stephanie said send her the address,
Stephanie,
please.
I will
Yes.
send it to you right now.
Put the outro
Absolutely.
that.
How you add it to the stream?
Done.
My producing skills are not on tonight. Here we go.
I in California.